The moment I saw the bride walking through the aisle, I knew something was off. It didn't look like cold feet or wedding jitters to me. There was something strange about the way she moved, the way the long white gown flowed around her legs. It was unnatural, like she wasn't even walking properly. At first, I told myself I was overthinking things. But the feeling wouldn't leave. And when I stepped forward to adjust her gown, what I found underneath changed everything. My name is James, and I have been Victor's best friend since childhood. We did everything together, climbed mango trees, played football in the streets, got into trouble at school, shared secrets, and laughed through awkward teenage years. We were brothers in all but blood. So, when he told me he was getting married to Chantel, this stunning, graceful woman he met a year ago, I was thrilled for him. Honestly, I didn't think anyone could ever tie him down, but here we were on his wedding day. The ceremony was perfect, almost too perfect. Chantel looked like she had stepped right out of a bridal magazine, her long white dress gliding down the aisle. I should have been lost in the beauty of it all, but something wasn't right. At first, I thought it was just nerves. Weddings are nerve-wracking, right? But as Chantel took one step, then another, I noticed her walking oddly. It wasn't the poised, confident bride's walk you'd expect. Her steps were small, unsure, almost as if she was stumbling. I leaned over to whisper to Victor's sister, Helen. "Do you see that?" I murmured, trying to keep my voice low. Helen frowned, glancing at the aisle. "See what?" she asked, oblivious. "Chantel," I said, gesturing subtly with my chin. "She's walking weird. Like something's wrong." Helen squinted and then shrugged. "You're overthinking it. She's just nervous, James. I mean, it's a big day." She gave me a reassuring smile, but it didn't calm the uneasy feeling bubbling inside me. Maybe. But something about the way Chantel's dress moved gnawed at me. Was her dress too tight? Had something happened before the ceremony? I tried to push the thoughts away, but as she got closer to the altar, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Her steps weren't just slow, they were almost labored. I leaned over again, unable to resist. "Helen, I swear something's off." "James, stop it," Helen whispered, her tone sharp. "You ruined the moment. Don't make a scene." I looked back toward the altar. Victor was standing there, his eyes sparkling with love. When our eyes met, he gave me a thumbs up and mouthed, "Can you believe it?" I forced a smile back at him, nodding, but inside, something wasn't sitting right. The closer Chantel came to the altar, the more unsettled I felt. Apparently, I wasn't the only one who noticed. "She's gliding," someone whispered behind me, a man's voice laced with amusement. Something about that comment chilled me to my core. I leaned in toward Helen again, my voice barely above a whisper. "Did you hear that? Gliding. That's exactly it. She's not walking right." "James, for God's sake," Helen hissed, her patience thinning. "You're going to embarrass Victor. Stop acting like this." But I couldn't stop. As Chantel drew nearer, I squinted at her feet, trying to make sense of it. The flow of her dress was unnatural. I couldn't take it anymore. My body moved before my mind could catch up. "I have to check," I muttered, stepping forward. I heard Helen's sharp intake of breath as I edged past her, my eyes locked on the bride. "James." Helen hissed behind me, her voice tight with panic. But it was too late. I was already there. My heart pounded, and my hands trembled as I reached out. The world seemed to slow down as I bent over and lifted the hem of Chantel's gown just a few inches. I wasn't even sure what I expected to see, maybe some malfunction with her shoes or a wardrobe mishap. But what I found defied all logic. The entire church fell into stunned silence. Underneath the beautiful white gown was something so out of place and shocking that my mind went blank for a second. Men's shoes. Large, polished men's shoes. I blinked, half convinced I was hallucinating. I glanced up, but no one moved. No one breathed. Chantel, no, this person didn't react, but I did. I knelt down further and looked closer. My stomach churned as I noticed the fabric of the suit pants, slightly hidden by the dress. And then, my eyes darted upward to the face. That's when I realized. This wasn't Chantel. It was a man. A man in a wig, a veil covering most of his features, but now that I was up close, I could see the truth. My throat went dry. I stood, my hands trembling at my sides, and met Victor's eyes. James. Victor's voice wavered, his happiness crumbling into confusion as he watched me. What's going on? I didn't know how to answer him. For a moment, no one moved. The entire church was frozen, mouths agape, eyes locked on the man standing at the altar, dressed as the bride. The weight of what I'd uncovered hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Victor's face was pale, his eyes wide, darting between me, the man in the wedding dress, and the confused guests. He staggered backward, nearly tripping over his own feet. What the hell is this? His voice cracked, thick with disbelief. The guests started whispering, their voices like a swarm of bees filling the room. The man in the dress, the fake Chantel, stood tall, a smirk spreading across his face. Slowly, deliberately, he reached up and pulled the veil from his head, letting it drop to the ground. The wig came off next with a flourish, revealing short, dark hair. The transformation was complete, and the church erupted in confused chatter. Surprise, he said, his voice filled with smug satisfaction. You didn't even notice, did you? Victor blinked, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Where's Chantel? He demanded, his voice barely holding together. Where is she? The man, Victor's best man, chuckled, shaking his head. She's gone, Victor. She left days ago. But don't worry, she knew about this. She's the one who asked me to do it. The murmurs in the church grew louder, and I could hear people shifting uncomfortably in their seats. I stood there, numb, unable to process what I was hearing. Victor's best friend, the one standing there in Chantel's wedding dress, had been in on this. Victor's face twisted in confusion and anger. What the hell are you talking about? What did you do to her? His voice rose in panic as he stepped forward, his fist clenched. Where is she? The best man held up a hand, signaling for calm, though his eyes glinted with triumph. Oh, she's safe. Don't worry. But she wanted you to feel this moment, Victor. She wanted you to know what it's like to be blindsided. Victor's confusion deepened. What are you talking about? The best man smiled a cold, sharp smile that didn't reach his eyes. She found out, Victor. About you and Vera. His voice dropped to a near whisper, the words dripping with malice. The bridesmaid you've been sneaking around with. Chantel knew. The air left the room. Victor's face drained of all color, his eyes wide with horror. No, That's not true. Oh, but it is, the best man interrupted, his tone vicious. She found out a few days ago. She could have called off the wedding, but where's the fun in that? No, she wanted to make sure everyone saw who you really are. I felt my knees weaken, and I gripped the back of a pew for support. My mind raced. Victor. Cheating on Chantel with one of the bridesmaids. I glanced over at Vera, sitting just a few rows away. Her face was pale, her hands trembling as she stared at the floor, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Victor shook his head frantically. No, this isn't happening. But the best man stepped forward, his voice rising with each word. This is happening, Victor. You betrayed her. You threw away your chance at happiness for a cheap fling, and now you're paying for it. The room erupted in chaos. Guests were talking over each other, shouting questions, trying to piece together what had just happened. Some stood, ready to leave, while others stared in disbelief at the man in the wedding dress, still standing proudly at the altar. Victor's eyes were wild with panic as he looked at me as if I could somehow save him from this nightmare. James, he gasped, reaching out toward me. Please, you have to believe me. This isn't what it looks like. I stared back at him, my heart breaking. Victor, what have you done? The church fell silent again, and the best man's cold voice cut through the air like a knife. This is your punishment, Victor. For what you did to her. And with that, he turned on his heel, leaving Victor standing there alone, shattered, exposed, and utterly broken. The guests started leaving. Some shook their heads in disappointment. Others whispered, already spreading the story. Vera was the first to run. She bolted out of the church, her heels clicking against the floor. Victor. He just stood there. His big day had turned into a nightmare, and there was no way to escape it. Helen, his sister, walked up to him, her eyes filled with something between anger and pity. You deserve this, she muttered before walking away. I stayed behind, watching as my best friend's world crumbled around him. All I could think was, Chantel won. She had planned the perfect revenge. And Victor would never live it down. That wedding became the most talked about event in town. Some people found it funny. Others saw it as cruel. But one thing was certain, no one ever forgot the day Victor was left standing at the altar, exposed for the liar he was. And to this day, whenever I think of that moment, I wonder, was it karma? Or was it just the perfect way to say goodbye? What do you think about Chantel's revenge? Is it too much or just a good way to pay back? Let us know in the comment section. Also tell us what you would have done if you were in Victor's shoes. Please like this video to help it grow. Also share to friends and family to help someone learn. Subscribe and hit the notification button if you haven't. This will notify you anytime we upload beautiful stories like this. Thank you as always for watching. From the stables of the echoes of old, we love you.